Welcome to the Outside the Business Boxes podcast, where we're talking about how to ignite your business today for the future using systems for everything you do in your business to make your life, your employees' lives, and your customers' lives easier for you to ultimately enjoy your business and, of course, make more money. I'm your host, Chad Murray.
Thank you for coming to Outside the Business Boxes podcast today. I am Chad Murray, and today we are going to get you in just a little bit of trouble, possibly. And please listen at your own risk, because you just never know what I might talk you into doing. So, so this is a funny week. Let me tell you why. It's my birthday. I'm turning 50, and it's I guess a big milestone in most people's lives, but it's being trumped with my daughter getting married this Saturday, and which is not a big deal. I could care less. But I will tell you, part of the podcast, what I'm going to talk about today is treat yourself like someone. Let me start over. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. It's Jordan Peterson's rule number 2. There's a lot into this episode today that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to show you a video. But bringing it back to my birthday week, I have a fun thing every year on my birthday. And it can be misconstrued very, very wrong with people thinking I'm egotistical and narcissistic. Because I literally treat my birthday like it's a national holiday. It's the 4th of July for me. It's my Christmas. It's my... And we do this. I do this. And my brother's the same way. We treat our birthday like it's a national holiday. And I honestly do it because it's funny and it's fun. And I typically... When I do it, I post a lot that day. I do a big, long video homage to myself or a collage of pictures. And I'll tell you, what it's done in the past, this day, is when people are hurting out there, or people need help. On the day of my birthday or the day after, within a week, every year in the last 15 years since Facebook's been around, I have had someone thank me for that post or that day, and they laughed at my whatever I did, and so I keep it up. I love it. It's fun. I have a really good time doing it. It is all, and sometimes it's even poking fun at myself, but I do it. And it may look like it's really self-centered, but I do it, and I'll tell you how it originated. So. I don't know, 12, 15 years ago, I did it for the first time. And a dear friend of mine that I grew up with, his dad died. I wasn't real close to his dad, but I very much, knew his dad enough, and stuff. And he was super close to his dad. Super close to his dad. And I did all my pictures. And he had remembered this. He had always laughed at this one picture I'd post. I went to one of our yearly fall parties we do at Masters. Is we do a Halloween costume party, and one year I went as the fat Richard Simmons, and I had the curly wig. I had the stupid workout clothes on for a big fat guy, and these white shoes, which I still have, by the way. Which I wear them when I work a lot, and because they're my I don't care shoes. And so and he texted me and called me. It's hard to say. Oh, hold on, didn't expect a moment to come here, but anyway, he texted and said, "I cannot believe how much you took me out of my depression." And wow. So to get it, I'm going to put this on pause for a second. Hold on. Okay. For you, that was a split second. For me, that was 5 minutes. Sorry. Had to compose myself. I mean, seriously, that's how much it means to me. I really, really like getting out there and helping people, and that's a big story for me. I mean, I literally took one of my best friends I grew up with, who was in and I had no idea he was in such a deep depression. And he texted me, then a phone call, then a FaceTime call in the next 24 hours. And he flat out told me I took him out of it. I mean, literally, for that little stupid little post I did. And so I've continued it every year. And you know what? Every single year, I haven't had a that good of a story out of it. But someone has texted me that I've helped them. You know, and it helps me too. So that's what this episode's about. This episode is literally about, you know, treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. I find that a lot of people, especially people that I coach, they're so into helping their employees, completely forget about themselves. 100% forget about themselves. You know, and the only time they spend any time on themselves is when it's vacation time. You know, and how can you really help other people when you're essentially being a hypocrite to yourself? You're not helping yourself. It's really, really super important. I mean, I was just talking to my client this morning. He's not in the chimney business, and he's about to go on vacation. And I said, "Oh, great week you have this week, and then you're gonna have a great week when you get back." And he goes, "Why?" I go, "Well, because every time you go on vacation, you really, really hyper focus on your business, and you hyper focus on it when you get back. I mean, I suggest you take 3 or 4 vacations a year, you know, and just time off, whatever you got to do, get away from the business, because you really will do that. I mean, but that's your time for yourself. But there's way more to it than that. I mean, it's one of the things I mean, and I'll get into, I got a little clip here of Jordan Peterson I'm going to play. You got to spend time on yourself, and to do it, I mean, you will actually be more appreciated, because you will learn so much when you literally, you know, take that time. Like, for instance, for me, all my big moves I've ever done in the last 15 years, and especially in the last 8 years, these ideas or these new systems or these things that I went to seek out came to me when I was driving home from my cabin on Sunday morning. And the traffic's light music going on Spotify of all my favorite songs, and I'm in a zone, and I don't think about work. It comes to me. It's like, you know, it's called something, intelligence or something, that comes to you. And I'm not talking about spiritual enlightenment here. I'm talking about your brain, the way it functions. When you literally are watching the road and cleared your mind, and you're really trying, you're in that mode where you're not really thinking of work, and just things start coming to you. That clarity of things you might want to do, have to do, whatever. I do that a lot, and I get a lot of good ideas from that. But I spend a lot of time at my cabin. Not as much as lately, since I got COVID and stuff. I haven't been able to go up there as much as I'd like, and I need to start going back up there. But you know, taking the time for yourself needs to almost be scheduled if you're running yourself, you know, and especially if you're running your business and you're out in a truck. So you really need to start thinking about how would you help your guys be successful. You need to start helping yourself be successful. Of course, I mean, not a shameless plug here. If you need help with that, you can call me. I will help you, and I can coach you. And I will tell you this. There's something about coaching versus consultancy. I think a lot of, especially guys in the chimney business, come to be my clients, and they're really expecting systems, and they're expecting consultancy. And the magic is when I coach them. I mean, giving you a system is easy. But I had my a session with one of my clients, one of my first chimney clients, still with me after over 2 years now coaching these guys. And one of the partners didn't show up, so it's me and this one guy, and we're just talking. And they have the old program where they're on an hour and a half a week with me, and we're just talking, and literally, probably the first 30 minutes is it's all about a nothing. I mean, if you watch this session, you'd be like, this is coaching? I'm paying for this? Well, the last hour he had said something, and he was when he was talking about his business, it hit me, and it's something that we've been trying to solve for 2 years, and I just couldn't quite get there to figure it out. He couldn't quite get there to figure it out. It's been really on his mind. We don't work on it a lot. I've talked to him about what we're talking about, and finally it just hit me. Wait a minute. We need to do this, this, and this, and this is the answer. I mean, I'm, and he looked at me like, oh my God, we just did it. We just did it. And I was talking, and we then, as we kept talking, we hit on another thing. We were just like in a zone. And by the end of that last hour, we had struck gold, and we had no agenda. We had no system. You know, you only get so many systems, but we still came up with a system for him, 2 systems for him to work on in the next week or two, that would solve one of his biggest headaches in his business, that, you know, of how to manage it. And we crushed it. Now, back to helping yourself. So, I mean, I'm going to play this clip. So I want you to listen to this. It's not so much geared towards business, definitely towards taking care of yourself. So here we go.
Rule number 2, treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. I mean, it seems pretty clear to me what this means.
Yeah, well, that's an investigation into why people don't treat themselves well. And the thing is that, you know, human beings are self-conscious. And we know about our limitations, and we know about our weaknesses. And so we can have contempt for human beings in general because, you know, we're just flawed and breakable and all of that. But we know ourselves better than we know everyone else. And so unless you're narcissistic, and some people are, then you have a very acute sense of how you're not up to scratch on many of the dimensions along which you could be evaluated, even by yourself. And so that leads naturally to a sort of self-contemptuous attitude. And you can see that one of the stories I talk about is that people are more likely to give prescription medication to their pets than to take them themselves. Right, you know. So
even in the United States, because we're pretty over-medicated here.
Even in the United States,
wow.
people will get the prescriptions, but they won't take the pills. Anyways, the idea there is, it's sort of a variation that I learned from Carl Jung on treat other people as you would like to be treated. It's you reverse that. It's like, imagine someone that you treat well, that you love, then try to treat yourself that way. You got to detach from yourself a bit. You got to think, okay, well, I'm a person among other people, and I deserve at least as much respect as a person among other people, and I should be trying to help myself across time. And instead of being self-contemptuous and self-destructive, I need to take care of myself as if I'm potentially valuable, and to lay out my life that way. And so that's what that chapter is about. And it's hard for people, you know. They don't take care of themselves as well as they should. And I don't mean, you know, take care of yourself. I mean, that isn't what I mean. It's like, it's not a moralistic attack. It's like, it's an encouragement to give yourself a bit of the benefit of the doubt and treat yourself as if you have some intrinsic value.
Yeah, so how much of that would you say is psychological, just being okay with the mistakes you're going to make and all of that, as opposed to just treat yourself, meaning dress okay, and posture and all of that
That's part of it. Like, it isn't clear where your borders actually are, you know. It means take care of your room, take care of your things, like have some respect for yourself as a well, I would say in some sense as a miraculous being, because that is actually what you are. But you know, that sort of borders on the New Age, which I'm not very happy about that, but it's still the case. It's like there is a lot of potential within you, and there's many things that you can do, and you're necessary more than you think to the unfolding of things. Like, if you make a bunch of bad decisions, things get worse. Not just for you. Like, things get worse. And maybe way worse. Like, I don't know what mistake Stellan's mother made. You know? And she probably didn't necessarily think they were that important. But it turned out they were pretty important. Mm-hmm. You don't know how your actions echo. And so it matters what you do. And so part of what you do is you want to treat yourself as if what you do matters. And so you want to have some respect for yourself and some fear of yourself. That's also that. And so that's what that chapter is about.
Yeah, that's Jordan Peterson, and what a mind. If you're not following Jordan Peterson and a lot of stuff he's doing, I mean, I don't care about your political views or anything like that. This guy's brilliant. So, I mean, and so anyway, I have two different lists of takeaways because I watched this a few times. You know, I watched it the first time. I didn't take any notes. Second time I took notes. And then watching it again as I recorded, I even came up with some even more notes. So, mind you, I'm listening to this as business sense, not as an individual. And so I'm looking at and I'm incorporating my thoughts as I listen to him to a business owner, not as a personal view of, you know, who I need to be on a personal level, which of course it's both, but I'm really trying to relate this to the business. So number one is obviously help yourself. I mean, that's the whole part of this. I mean, you need, and to help yourself, take care of yourself in your business to operate it and not do all the work. I mean, I know a lot of guys out there, you know, half of you are listening, are doing a lot of the work, and half of you are already delegating. And so I'm not going to go into a big rant on that. But in the same aspect, you know, you can't do everything. And as you're trying to get a smooth operating business, and I don't necessarily mean scaling business, you're going to need to delegate some more stuff so that you can have some more freedom to think. Not everything's about scaling, but everything is absolutely about having a better, smoothly operating business. So, point 3 from the first time I took notes, you don't know how much your actions speak about you and your business. Think about that. I mean, if you're a guy that has to see every report before it goes out, has to micromanage everybody, and can't give up and give up some control of the business, well, you know, that's how your business is going to operate. And that's probably why you can't find a lot of people to work for you very often. Because people, believe it or not, people want responsibility. People need to be given responsibility. I think a lot of businesses, owners that have a lot of high turnover is because it's my way or the highway. And there's a point of that. Obviously, there's got to be things done the way it needs to be done, right? There are just things that have to happen like that. But then there are alterations to where one guy can do it a little different than you and get the same results as they've learned the business, and it may not be exactly the way you do it. And if you open your mind, you'll start finding that the 7 guys working for you literally may have 1 or 2 things that are better than what you developed or you heard from someone else or someone else. Let them bring in some opportunity for you, and maybe you might start learning some more things about them that can rocket your business to make it easier on you. Second list, when I watched this as I recorded it on here, bad decisions will get worse. Think about that phrase. Bad decisions will get worse because you're alone. So, I mean, if you help yourself, let other people help you as well. I mean, by helping yourself is letting other people in, believe it or not. I mean, I really literally built my business with no help. You know, I'll tell you a story here. So I've watched a couple other podcasts lately. I've watched some industry stuff in the chimney industry. And whether they were on whatever side of the CSIA or NCSG, no matter what, I see respect for each other, and I see this, and I look at this. Now, I was never part of these organizations. And I was always NCSG, but I wasn't out there as anybody with. No, I was a face in the crowd. I never did anything. And I'm watching as I'm trying to get involved, and I'm I don't know the right word, so I'll just say the wrong words. I'm jealous of the fact of the people that are constantly in there that get chosen to do stuff because I'm like the old new guy, but I don't get considered for some things that I'm awesome at. And I don't mean that as a bragging thing, that I'm good at. And I'm not looked at a lot of these people in some other ways of the value of what I bring to the industry yet. And I'm working on that. But I will say, as I'm listening and I'm seeing some of this stuff, I don't put myself out there to be on committees. I don't do all that. And that's my fault. But had I have been in the industry long enough, and then I started coaching and this stuff, things I may have be in a different position of people knowing who I am. And it's something that I'm helping myself now, but I didn't help myself for all those years. You know, for 21 years, nobody knew who Chad Murray and Master Services was. I'm not telling you must go get out. I mean, most of you are all CSI certified or CCP certified, and you have some type of involvement in the business, which I did not. And so, I mean, I didn't ever help myself with it. So I had a bunch of bad decisions, you know, over the years. And then, so let's fast forward to, you know, I go to get certified and we're using some parts that aren't the best. They're better parts, better alterations to fireplaces, yet they're, you know, not OEM parts, and they need, you know, whatever. And I've been talking about this in every podcast, so I'm going to try not to mention this anymore, but bad decisions get worse, right? So here we are, get CSI certified, and I leave it up to my guys if they want to sell it or not, which is, hey, I'm still that way, although I did take away some parts to not tempt them to do stuff, and, you know, but some other parts I didn't. The ones that are absolutely on the line of do not do, I took away, and then I think there's some gray areas, some things that I kept in there, and let them decide if it's the best thing for the fireplace, because they are CSI certified. They know what their integrity is. They know what they took, and if they feel this is something they can add to a fireplace or a chimney system that is gonna be better, and we can do it, I left that to them. And I know some people didn't like that decision of me doing it that way. Well, tough shit. So, okay. Next point, to the second time I listened to this recording. It matters what you do, which is kind of what we talked a little bit, but think about it. Your actions speak about what you do in your business. It matters what you do. Everything matters. Your bad decisions, your good decisions, they all matter. You're going to learn from them, and you're going to grow, and you're going to move on. But it matters. That's what is so. Here's at the end of the end of this video. You have to think about, a lot of times as we are as business owners, we don't care what the employees think to a certain point about a lot of things. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but it matters. So, I mean, when you think about it, what I'm saying here is that decision that I made about doing OMA parts or not, it matters. I mean, right or wrong, it matters. And to some people, it might matter more, you know? And so, and then the last point I took as I watched this last time with you guys is fear yourself. People don't fear themselves enough. Now, he has another whole thing on this, which I have not watched. Very intriguing to me, to fear yourself. I think and I'm guessing here, what does fear yourself means? My problem is I don't fear myself. I say the wrong stuff all the time. And you know what? I absolutely do not have a problem retorting to and making and owning up to a mistake, taking a decision and reversing it, calling myself out. I have no problem. Which I actually like this part of me. A lot of people hate it, but I like the fact I can make a quick decision. I can say the wrong thing, and I can come back and have a heartful discussion about it with whoever and resolve it and move on. Not the best system, but it does work for me. And some people, they don't operate like that, and so it is what it is. And so the fear yourself, and you know, it's funny as I think about the fear yourself. I've had so in the last year and a half, I've been put into situations where I'm in a group. I have talked about this a little bit on another podcast, I believe. Where I get put into a group, where I get put in with 3 or 4 people that I don't really know. And kind of going back to when I was in basic training, how I started out as a nobody like everybody else and ended up graduating as the platoon guide in the Army. Well, I was in the Army National Guard, but you still train with the Army. And I look at that. I was given some advice from my stepdad, who has already gone through the exact same training I did at the exact same place 10 years prior to me. And he was just like, be quiet, do your job, and do that. So I'm actually, this is going to sound weird, I'm uncomfortable around groups. I like the one-on-one, and it takes me a long time to get comfortable with the group. Individually, I'm awesome. I can take it. Now there are some people I have a harder time dealing with educated people, college type people, than I can with someone who's real blue collar. I have a very quick connection with them, and it takes me a while to get in with the people who are educated, just because I have a different feel. I'm a different type of person. And so I'm always looked at a little differently when I'm in a group, until I get the group's dynamics down, get to feel how, I will not talk in a group until I absolutely, unless you're talking about systems, stuff like that, I have no problem. But I sit back. And so, thinking about this, I do try to help myself when I'm doing that, so I don't say stupid things, so like everybody knows that, I didn't get it into the mixed group last year. Big deal. But I'm not good. It showed, golly, does it show. I'm not good with a bunch of A-types, even if they're blue collar, at first. I need the time to know what to say and do. And when we had a breakout session, I bombed. And for lots of reasons, and I'm not even going to go into all that, but I think bringing it back to the podcast, what I do matters. My bad decisions and stuff, they matter, and I grow and I learn from them. And I think one of the things when it comes to getting to help myself out, when it came, and I bring up the mixed group when I had a breakout session, which I think cemented my no with a lot of people, was I'll tell you what we were talking about scaling your business to another city. And when I did this, I had done this and failed. And so when it came to my turn to just busting out to tell my story of how I failed, and the story dropped off that I had failed, but there was no why I failed. And when the question came, that's a great story, but where's the why? And they're like waiting for the antithesis of the ending of I had this big report of how I failed and what I did wrong. I had 0 for them. And they're like, well, that was a great story, but it has no ending. And I'll tell you why I didn't have an ending. I'm such a implementer that I got the hell out of a couple of the cities we were in and just concentrated on where I was at. That was my ending. And there were a lot of things that went wrong, and I never analyzed it. So it's really funny. So if I were to go back to that group, I've now overanalyzed what I did wrong in those cities, and I would now know how to really be beneficial to that group in that setting. But, to relate to this, when your bad decisions get worse, so let's talk about this. You've got to think about why, analyze your bad decisions and come up with a solution, and don't be afraid to reverse course. Help yourself get out of what you're in and whatever you did bad. And we're really not really too much about this, and so I'm kind of rambling. So I want to get back to the video a little bit. So everything matters that you're gonna do, and it's gonna matter even when you have bad decision, good decisions. If everyone's gonna see you working your ass off, and they're working their ass off, it's not an environment that you can really thrive in for a very long time. And so I want you to help yourself solve your situations by, by taking care of yourself. Delegate. Come up with a system that's going to assist you in not having to work late at night. I see a lot of you guys out there you're not doing estimates in home. You're sending them off to the office. Your guys out in the field have to send them off to the office to do. That's a terrible system. And if you sit there and think about it, if you're working it well, I guarantee you your system sucks. I don't care how good you think it is. It's not a good system. Train your guys how to estimate in the field and get it done. That's just the one that comes to mind. I can probably, if I were to sit here, if I'd have made a list, it would have been good. But I do have another little thing to talk about here as part of this is, to treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. That was the whole premise of this video. So when you're helping people, right, you're identifying where they need help. Identify it yourself. Where do you need help? Make a list of your values that can help you, and make a list of where you need help and who in your business right now could help you, so that you can treat yourself like everybody else. When you think of yourself as your own employee, would you treat another employee like you treat yourself? Probably not. And if you do, you're probably not a great boss. But it'd be nice to say you could treat yourself, if you treated yourself like everybody else, and everybody is got the same value, across the board. If this means just taking 10 minutes a day for yourself, do it. I'm not into this, but if anyone knows who Mike Fazy is, and that's a good segue, you should be using Bare Hands Pro for your chimney inspection stuff. Mike Fazy, it's their system at Mike's Mobile. He meditates. I don't know how long a day he meditates, but he swears by it. And he'll kind of laugh and say it's kooky, but until he started doing it really, and he's into it. And when you see him talk about it, it's a realism to it. And so I don't know if you need to pray, if you need to sit down. That's where I talk about my meditation might just be coming back from the cabin. That's my time that I really, really clear my mind, and then the mind fills itself. And when you allow the mind to fill itself is when you start hitting strides that you didn't think of before. So one thing is, too, I think a lot of business owners, they celebrate their employees typically, but they don't celebrate themselves. I know we kind of talked about this a little bit. I have no problem celebrating myself for my birthday, right? And I do it a little bit for being selfish and having fun, but I also do it because I know it's going to make someone's life a little bit better. And if you understand, if you celebrate yourself, everybody in your business will see you celebrating it, and you're really celebrating everybody. You got to start doing it. You'll understand. It's one of these things that if you do it a little bit, like pat your business on the back, and you don't have to just call out everybody and give them praise. Pat the business on the back, and which is you are your business, and you're really patting everybody on the back. Be patient with yourself. This stuff doesn't change overnight. You literally got to write it down and schedule it that you need to work on yourself. It has to be something for yourself that the time is given to you. And so, make another list. Make a list on what would make you happy in your business to give up. We kind of talked about it a minute ago, but I'm saying really make a list that makes you happy. What are things that you don't want to do that would make you happy if someone else did it? What would you like to be doing that you're not doing? Put that on your list. And there are going to be bumps in the road, and the bumps in the road, don't give up. Keep going and celebrate yourself. So guys, it's my birthday week. I'm going to have some fun online in a couple days. By the time you listen to this, the birthday's tomorrow. If you're listening to this in the future, my birthday's past and gone. In 2022, I'll be 50 years old in 2 days, and I'm going to have some fun with it and celebrate myself. I personally, just from this podcast alone, helping myself, I did this podcast for me as much as I did for you guys. I'm going to literally spend more time driving back from my cabin, if you know what I mean. Which I'm going to sit and I'm going to reflect and I'm going to let my mind just go to nowhere to see where it ends up more in my life. So, guys, that's my time. And thank you for listening to Outside the Business Box. SnapLock is definitely your sweep tools, and Alan Rush's Monday Morning Minutes. I do have a little update. Obviously, Bare Hands Pro as well. I do have a little update. So I got my second group starting today on sales, Masonry Sales School. 2-month course. It continues on after that with a weekly meeting. It's $500 for your first guy, $400 for your second. On the third month, it's just $500 a month for your $400 a month for your guy to be in the continuing education meetings, and or it's $900 a month for as many people in your company as you want. So I'm literally running a sales meeting with people in my company and graduates of this, and it's gonna scale big. I have 10 pupils starting group 2. Group 1 ended up having 6 signups. 2 ended up not being in the class, coming out of the class due to their own, outside of me, whatever happened. And the other 4, one's still getting his keys to his truck, so he's learning well. The other 3, one is quadruple sales, one is tripled, and one is doubled. Can you imagine if one of your educator sweeps who goes out and just estimates could double his sales? Well, I had a guy who got a triple and a guy that's quadrupled his. I'm no wonder. I've got a great system of process how to sell masonry. And that's what I teach. Is a system I've taught for years. And it's a great thing. I also teach putting soot in their blood. I'm teaching guys how to really understand their business. You, as your business owner, got into a business that is bigger than just you are. We're a great culture of a business, an industry, I mean, and I'm putting that into their blood as well. So I'm getting them not just to learn masonry sales and inspect, and I don't teach them how to inspect. That's your job. I teach them how to sell it, and so and how to present it, and how to walk into the house, how to be whatever. It's very 1.0 to 2.0. I'm a precursor, or possibly even an addition to what Alan Rush teaches. I mean, he is the bomb. I'm not Alan Rush, but I will help your guys get on a good path to knowing the industry and knowing how to talk and walk the walk and be a chimney sweep. And so in the masonry sector. And I'm super ecstatic. I'm going to be at the convention in Vegas at the end of the month. I will be taking signups for group 3. So guys, if you want to have a guy in the next group, go ahead and send me a message on Messenger or email me at chat@outsidethebusinessbox. You can go on YouTube. You can see that again, and because it'll be on the end of this video or this podcast. So guys, that's my time. Thanks.